More of our Augsburg fall sports previews coming up. This is Greg Holker, our men's soccer coach. Greg starting his 7th year here at Augsburg, 56 victories in his 6 years here at Augsburg, and now going into year number 7. Last year, the Augies finishing up 8-1 overall. That record, a little misleading in terms of the close number of games that Augsburg played. 7 one-goal losses, including 6 1-0 losses during the course of last season. Talk about some of the expectations that are coming into this year, coming off of that year with so many really close games.
Well, I think last season for us, the quality of soccer was pretty good. Obviously, the result wasn't what we were looking for, but more than that, I think the players within the program did all of the things that they needed to improve and get better on a daily basis, and we did, and we got better as the season progressed. And the results maybe didn't come, but I think it taught us a little bit of a lesson because we were a touch complacent in the fact that we were okay with playing good soccer, but not necessarily driving a stake in our opponent and getting the result we needed. So I think this offseason was unique in the fact that you have a motivated group of talented players who want to maybe erase a bad taste.
So how does this team become different coming off that type of a year?
Well, we had a few new players, first of all. That's our responsibility to do, is to try to build a stronger team each season, but I think the players that we had worked really, really hard in the offseason as well. So, some of the new players we brought in, Ben Wexler, who's a transfer from Providence University in Rhode Island, Tyler Heaps, who played at North Park in Illinois last season, and Josh Sweeney, who comes from UW Oshkosh. So, those are 3 transfers, and then, we have some first-year guys that are going to help us right away. Mohamed Sanko from Como Park in St. Paul, and Will Morlock, I think, will probably be in the frame for us, a freshman goalkeeper from Grand Haven, Michigan, and it looks as if another freshman will be the number 2 guy right now, Clayton Lynch, who's from Cedar Rapids in Iowa. So, there's 6 new players right there that are going to contribute, 5 for sure in our first, really group, and then when Eddie Becerra gets healthy, he's gonna be really impactful. But he's coming off an ACL injury in April, so I don't know what he'll give us this season.
So you touched on the 2 first years in at goal, Lynch and Morlock. The potential for playing a first year in goal in as tough a conference as the MIAC is. Blessing or a curse, I bet, but hopefully a blessing.
We did it in 2005 with Pascal Venter and Evan Foose, and Evan's now on our staff, and Pascal actually came and made a visit to both those first-year students 2 days ago and had a conversation with them about his experience. And I think that these 2 might be a little bit better prepared physically than the 2 in 2005. It's just, the game evolves, everybody gets a little bit better, but I think on top of that, they're both really disciplined and hardworking kids. Pair that up with the fact that they chose to be roommates.
Ooh.
And so we've got some other good things going on chemistry-wise that I think are going to help us. And certainly a first-year guy who's 18 is going to make 18-year-old mistakes. He just hasn't played 70 games yet, like some of the other players. So, decisions, I think the decisions are the issue, not the technique. The technical stuff I think is pretty clean. But, do I come? Do I stay? How do I rearrange players in different situations? Those will be the challenges for those guys. And really, you're telling 20, 22-year-old guys what to do, and you have to be confident in yourself. So that's a challenge.
Okay, this is a young team. 31 players on the team, but you've got only 11, are upperclassmen, 4 seniors, 7 juniors. This is a young team, but I suppose with youth comes promise.
Yes, I think it's a young team, but it's not an inexperienced team. I think that's a fair way to say it, because the guys that are not in their 3rd or 4th season are players who played significantly last year, and that was a benefit of us not getting the results we wanted. So, once we were eliminated from the MIC playoff, our upperclassmen came in and said, you got to play the young guys because this program is more important than us as individuals. And I'm willing personally to concede time to make sure that the players are improved and get experiences that will help them in the future. And that's what's happened. So we've got guys that are now prepared to play kind of ahead of time.
Aside from the keepers, some of the other young players that you think will make an impact? You touched on a few of them already, but kind of expand on that.
Yeah, Mohamed Sanko last night showed in our scrimmage with the University of Minnesota why he's going to be a significant player here. He was quite good. Owen Burns, who didn't compete last night, but I really like what he does in the midfield. He's real gentle on the ball, Minneapolis South kid. Danny Osip's got a lot of upside athletically. He's got some decisions to make to determine if it's going to reach his potential, but it's there, it exists. And then Victor Enriquez does really well. He's been injured the majority of preseason, but he's a pacey little guy, and he's a good team guy. So, I don't want to leave anybody out. I probably am, but I think that's the core group of our true first-year players, and we'll be fine.
Now on the flip side, the returners, some of the guys that have been impressive that are going to make an impact this year.
Yeah, watch out for Chad Gilmer. That's pretty much the key. I don't think that's any secret to anybody who's watching this little preview show. He's a dangerous player. He's a fantastic player. But around him are players that are equally as dangerous. And you've got Ahmed Gabon and David Scheller that play off of him on the side. And Jeff Butler's really shown an increase in pace and ability to drive to the frame. Behind them, Van Hong, who really is the heart of this team. I mean, when he speaks, the heart beats louder. And Matty Bowman's and TJ Hag. He's just tremendous. So those players right behind Chad are really good. And then in the back, Peter Lloyd is the anchor, and he has been. And Keller looks to be really strong on the left side. And Sharif's going to contribute significant minutes, and Opie and Kevin Butcher are both going to play in the center back. So, we feel pretty good about how deep we are. I think we're maybe 20, 21, 22 players deep. And, Gottlieb he returns from Africa today, so we'll have him back, and that'll be a nice little injection of talent.
Now, this past spring, in May, this team went over to Spain for a week. A really nice trip, a second international trip in a number of years for the Augies. What did that do for this team's confidence, or for this significant experience of being able to play in Europe and play against some good club teams?
Well, being exposed to the quality of the game over there, from all of the players and the technical quality and the speed with which things happen, it was beneficial for us. We played very, very well over there, and it also gave us an opportunity to use guys like Opie into the center back, and Sharif playing significantly at right back, and introduce Keller to playing on the left side. So. And Chad moving up front. So players got to, get some functional experience, and I think that was an important preview of what to get started here. So really, other institutions might be weeding through players and determining how they're going to, who's going to make the team and who isn't. We're not really in that. We're able to get going a little bit quicker, and I'm quite pleased with that.
All right, let's look at the season coming up. The MIAC, always a tough conference. It seems like it's a pretty even conference this year from what we've talked about before. Where do you see Augsburg fitting in? And just talk about the conference in general. And
there's 8 teams that can be in the top 4. There's no question about that, I think. And then of those 8, there's maybe five that can win the whole thing and have enough talent to do it. So it's an incredibly challenging conference that does very, very well annually in the NCAA event. We had 2 teams placed last year, and St. Olaf and McAllister, and the year prior to that it was Carleton and Augsburg, both in the final 16. So Gustavus, I know in 2005 got to the finals. So we've had teams go pretty deep, and it's a testament to how strong our conference is. So the day-to-day battles that we face make it taxing, as the season progresses. But we're of the philosophy that we want to prepare a schedule outside of our conference that's maybe even more difficult, and in hopes of preparing us for some of the battles we're going to do.
And after that home opener against Luther on the 1st, then you go out to Washington for 2 games on Labor Day weekend. So that should be kind of an interesting trip for the guys.
Yeah, we'll go back to Whitworth for the first time since '08, and I think our boys still remember, at least the ones that were a part of that, how hostile that environment was and how exciting that environment was. And they're looking forward to returning because of Whitworth, a wonderful institution, gracious hosts. They did everything right when we were there in our first visit, and we're excited to go back and play really high-quality teams in both Whitworth and Pacific Lutheran.
All right, home opener again, the 1st of September against Luther. Another strong non-conference season going into conference play, but the first game coming up on the 1st, chomping at the bit for that one, I bet.
Yeah, it's been, however many months. The boys are ready to kick somebody else.
All right, September 1st, 8:15 against Luther at Edor Nelson Field. That's the first home game for the Augie men's soccer team. Greg Holker, head coach of the Augie men's soccer program, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.